Late December 2025, the quiet stretch between Christmas and New Year's, a time when cities slow down. Offices close, streets empty, families gather indoors under warm lights, while winter air settles heavily over Germany's industrial heartland. In Gelsenkirchen, in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, nothing seemed unusual. It was cold. It was still. It was peaceful. And beneath that peace, a vault was being breached. The branch belonged to Sparkasse, Germany's historic savings bank network, trusted by millions. For decades, customers had stored their most valuable possessions inside its reinforced walls. Not just money, not just gold, but heirlooms, documents, wedding rings, war medals, rare coins, bonds, cash saved quietly over generations. Some boxes held the financial backbone of entire families. The Bua district branch sat unassumingly near an underground parking garage. From the outside, it was just another bank. But inside the basement, behind thick reinforced concrete, was the vault, a fortress designed to withstand force, fire, and intrusion. Or so everyone believed. The timing was deliberate. Christmas weekend, reduced staffing, no customer traffic, minimal activity. A perfect window. Investigators believe the operation was not spontaneous. It was planned, studied, measured. The kind of planning that takes weeks, maybe months. Somewhere, someone had likely studied architectural layouts, fire exit routes, alarm placement, structural blueprints. They may have rented or accessed the underground parking garage legitimately beforehand. They may have walked the space repeatedly, blending in with holiday shoppers or commuters. No ski masks, no dramatic gestures, just patience. And then, sometime between December 27th and December 29th, they began. Rather than forcing entry through the front of the bank, an act that would have triggered immediate alarms, the thieves approached from below, from the adjacent underground parking structure. A place quieter, less monitored, easier to conceal activity during late hours. From the garage, they accessed a storage or service corridor area connected structurally to the bank building. From there, they located the outer wall of the vault. This was not drywall. This was not brick. This was heavily reinforced concrete, estimated to be roughly 40 centimeters thick, possibly embedded with steel reinforcement mesh. To breach that kind of structure requires serious equipment, not a handheld consumer drill. Likely industrial core drilling machines, diamond-tipped drilling heads capable of grinding through reinforced concrete, possibly hydraulic braking tools, maybe even thermal cutting equipment if steel reinforcement was encountered. These tools are loud, extremely loud, which means the thieves may have operated during late-night windows when ambient noise was minimal but public presence was also lowest. Or perhaps they insulated the sound. It is possible they used sound-dampening barriers, acoustic blankets, or even staged noise to mask drilling. Some investigators speculated they could have used battery-powered industrial tools to avoid running visible power lines. Others believe they tapped directly into electrical infrastructure from the garage. However they did it, the result was undeniable. They drilled through the vault wall, not the door, the wall. By the time authorities later entered, a hole large enough for a person to pass through had been carved into what was supposed to be one of the most secure rooms in the building. Inside that vault were approximately 3,000 to 3,200 safe deposit boxes. Customers rent these boxes for privacy. Banks typically do not know the exact contents. That privacy is part of the appeal. But that privacy also makes loss immeasurable. Once inside, the thieves did not rush randomly. Reports suggest systematic access, box after box after box. To open hundreds or even thousands of safe deposit boxes requires tools again: specialized pry bars, bolt cutters, portable grinders, lock-picking kits, or forced entry wedges. Some safe boxes are individually reinforced. Some are thin metal casings. Others have additional customer locks. The level of destruction inside reportedly suggested force, not delicate lockpicking. Doors bent open, metal warped, entire rows torn apart. And here is where the emotional weight of the story begins. When the bank reopened after the holiday closure, alarms triggered internally due to structural compromise. Emergency services responded first. Fire crews arrived initially because internal sensors detected irregularities. When police entered and saw the vault, the scale became immediately apparent. Customers were notified. And that is when shock turned into public outrage. Hundreds of people gathered outside the branch. Some had traveled after receiving urgent messages from the bank. Others arrived after news spread through local media. Imagine holding a small metal key in your hand, a key you have trusted for years, only to learn that behind the door it unlocks. There is nothing left. Some customers reportedly broke down in tears. Others were furious. There were elderly individuals who had kept family jewelry passed down through generations, business owners who stored cash reserves, immigrant families who preferred tangible assets over digital balances, people who distrusted volatile markets and chose gold, people who feared inflation and kept currency in physical form. Many of those safe deposit boxes are insured, but typically only up to limited amounts unless additional coverage is purchased. That means someone who stored 50,000 euros in gold might only receive partial compensation. Some lawyers representing customers suggested total losses could reach 30 million euros. Others argued it could be significantly higher, possibly exceeding 100 million euros, because many customers stored items whose value far exceeded standard insurance thresholds. And then comes the uncomfortable question. If safe deposit boxes are private, how does anyone calculate the loss? The bank cannot confirm contents. Customers must declare what was inside, but without receipts, documentation, or proof, insurance disputes can become complex. Imagine trying to prove a grandmother's diamond ring was worth 25,000 euros when it was inherited 40 years ago. Imagine explaining that a gold coin collection built over decades is gone, but you have no photographic record. This heist was not just financial. It struck at trust. Trust in institutions, trust in security, trust in the idea that physical assets stored behind thick walls are safer than digital ones. Investigators quickly labeled the operation highly professional. There were no immediate arrests. A high-performance vehicle was reportedly seen in connection with suspicious movements near the site. License plates linked to the vehicle were allegedly stolen from another region days earlier, which suggests planning. Professional criminals often conduct reconnaissance in phases. Phase 1, observation. Phase 2, test access points. Phase 3, execution during optimal timing. The holiday period was ideal. Minimal staff, delayed detection, reduced public foot traffic. It is also possible, though not confirmed, that criminals studied alarm systems. Vaults often have seismic sensors designed to detect drilling or vibrations. Either those sensors were bypassed, malfunctioned, or were not triggered due to the angle of entry. Some speculate they may have drilled slowly to reduce vibration intensity. Others wonder if internal layout information was obtained somehow, whether through public records, insider leaks, or architectural plans. At this stage, authorities have not publicly confirmed insider involvement. But when a breach of this magnitude occurs, investigators consider every angle. Organized crime groups operating in parts of Germany and neighboring countries have previously targeted vaults and armored transports. The precision of this operation suggests experience. This was not opportunistic burglary. This was calculated, and the psychological impact extended beyond Gelsenkirchen. Across Germany, customers began questioning their own safe deposit boxes. Local banks reportedly received surges of calls from concerned clients asking about security upgrades. Some removed their valuables voluntarily, others increased private insurance coverage. The Sparkasse network, one of Germany's most trusted financial institutions, faced difficult public scrutiny. Officials reassured customers that vault security systems are constantly reviewed and upgraded. But reassurance is difficult when a hole through concrete says otherwise. Think about the symbolism. A vault wall, thick, reinforced, immovable, drilled through quietly over a holiday weekend. It challenges assumptions about permanence. For the victims, the loss is layered. There is financial value, but there is also irreplaceable value. Old letters, birth certificates, gold jewelry from weddings, rare coins collected by fathers and grandfathers, cash stored quietly during uncertain economic years. In interviews, some customers expressed anger not just at the criminals, but at the feeling of vulnerability. How could this happen? Was a repeated sentiment. The bank is expected to compensate within contractual limits, but even full compensation cannot replace emotional attachment. Meanwhile, investigators combed through the underground garage, examining tire marks, surveillance footage, discarded materials, and possible DNA traces. Industrial drilling leaves debris, concrete dust, metal fragments. These materials were collected. If specific drill bits were used, forensic analysts may be able to trace tool marks to particular equipment models. Criminal networks sometimes reuse tools across operations, leaving patterns investigators can link. Security camera footage from surrounding streets was reviewed. High-performance vehicles are distinctive. Movement patterns during late-night hours stand out. However, professional crews often use stolen vehicles and change transport modes quickly after departure. The thieves likely move the stolen goods rapidly. Gold can be melted down. Cash can be redistributed. Jewelry can be dismantled and sold in parts. This is one of the greatest challenges in recovering stolen physical assets. Unlike digital theft, where transactions can sometimes be traced, physical valuables can disappear into global markets. By the time public outrage peaked, the perpetrators were already gone. No dramatic chase, no Hollywood-style arrests. Just a quiet, efficient disappearance. And perhaps that is what makes the story more unsettling. There was no chaos during the act. No explosions, no gunfire, just precision. The image that remains is not flashing sirens, but a circular hole in reinforced concrete, a hole where certainty used to stand. And now, the question lingers. Was this an isolated event, or a signal that physical vault security needs fundamental redesign? As economies evolve and wealth moves between digital and tangible forms, criminals evolve as well. For decades, vaults symbolized ultimate protection. In Gelsenkirchen, that symbol cracked. The customers who stood outside that branch days later were not just demanding answers. They were confronting a reality shift. Security is never absolute. It is relative. And on one winter weekend in 2025, relative security failed. The investigation continues. Authorities remain tight-lipped about leads. Professional operations like this sometimes take years to fully unravel. But whether arrests come or not, the legacy of the Gelsenkirchen vault breach is already written. It is a story of planning over impulse, of patience over panic, of silence over spectacle, and of ordinary people waking up after Christmas to discover that what they believed was locked away forever was gone. If you found this deep dive compelling, follow the channel for more real-world stories where finance, security, and human trust collide. Because sometimes the most dramatic events in history happen not with explosions, but with a drill bit turning quietly in the dark. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.